Thank you, Senator Klobuchar. 2 weeks in my career as a prosecutor, I was asked to litigate a termination of parental rights case. The most dramatic moment of that trial came when a young social worker was grilled by the defense attorney about all the things he did wrong during the investigation. When cross-examined about removing a baby from the home, something he lacked the legal authority to do, the social worker began to cry and said, "The baby was covered with maggots. I didn't know what I was supposed to do." None of us in that case knew what we were supposed to do. An absence of training on child abuse at the undergraduate and graduate level, a shortage of quality training for professionals in the field left us to figure it out as we went along. 25 years later, many communities face the same struggle. To address this, I'd like to focus on 2 reforms. First and foremost, we must end on-the-job training for future child protection professionals. Both research and the near universal experience of frontline child protection professionals confirm that very little, if any, instruction on handling these cases is provided at the undergraduate or graduate level. As a result, many professionals in the field go years without being fully trained on even the most basic aspects of handling a case of child abuse. When this happens, cases are not properly investigated or are not investigated at all. According to the most recent national incidence study, 70% of the most serious cases of child abuse identified by NIS researchers were not investigated. To address this, Winona State University examined many of the best training programs for professionals in the field and partnered with the National Child Protection Training Center and the National District Attorneys Association in developing an intensive interdisciplinary minor called Child Advocacy Studies, or CAST. We've also developed CAST graduate programs for medical schools, law schools, even seminaries. These courses have dramatically improved the knowledge and skills of these professionals. We've replicated CAST in 27 institutions of higher education from 17 different states with a realistic goal of 500 CAST universities by 2018. Second, we must realize that although there is a role for national child abuse conferences in providing ongoing training for professionals in the field, the most effective training will always be at the state and local level. 10 years ago, there were a number of high-quality forensic interview training programs offered by Corner House, APSAC, the National Children's Advocacy Center, and other stellar organizations. Unfortunately, the intense nature of these courses limited the class size to no more than 40 professionals and thus impacted only hundreds a year. But beginning in 2000 and continuing until today, the National District Attorneys Association and now the National Child Protection Training Center worked with Corner House to establish 5-day forensic interview training programs that met national standards, but that were taught at a state level. 20 states implemented the reform, and very quickly we went from training hundreds a year at the national level to training thousands a year at the state level. A forensic interviewer who graduated last year from our Pennsylvania course wrote us, "What an amazing week. Wednesday night at dinner, I told my team members that the most incredible transformation had happened. I've gone from feeling like I was pretending to know what I was doing to a feeling of competence. You have no idea how much that means." When discussing these and other reforms, we must keep in mind that high-quality training is the determining factor of whether or not many children will be spared from abuse. As one example, a child protection worker who went through one of our state trainings, she wrote us, "Right after your training, I had a new sexual abuse case at the homeless shelter where a 5-year-old was the victim. The police officer was floored at what I was able to now get out of the child without asking one leading question. When we were done, I told him we needed the clothing, we needed the photos of the room. This is the first case in our county where this type of evidence will be available to the prosecution. Thank you so much for giving me the knowledge I needed to do it right."